What up, folks? It is the Doctor, Dr. Remy LeBeau, and I'm here to help you get through the day. I know you're having a rough time. You obviously have not been exposed to enough X-Men statues today, so here I am in the X-Lair, ready to provide you with some treatment that will maybe not cure you of your, you know, chronic illness, but at least satiate you for the moment so that you won't tear every hair out of your head. Poor, poor collector. The treatment today is a comparison of two very beautiful statues, which are variants of each other. This statue here, Jean, in her phoenix form, was actually sculpted about almost like what 13, 14 years ago. Um, this is number 1284 of 4000, and it was sculpted in 2000 by, I think it was Mark Newman. Yes, it was Mark Newman. Um, and then this statue here, which is X Factor Jean Grey, which is Jean in her X Factor design, uh, was actually resculpted in part years after this statue was released, and then released over 10 years after it was released, after the original was released. So this one, okay, this is number 384 500, and it was produced in 2011. Okay, so 11 years afterwards it was produced. Um, so the original statue uh, was actually produced with another variant, which is the Dark Phoenix version, which I'll be comparing this to eventually at some future point. Um, so there were two of these made, and then years later, Randy Bowen was like, "Hey, why don't I reuse the sculpt, do something different, resculpt the hair, and then make a Jean Grey in her X Factor costume statue with the base that is completely different from the original bases, which is actually taller. I actually have this one slightly more elevated on the riser than this one, but because this one has like a taller base, it actually winds up being taller than this one, maybe about an inch and a half. Um, and so Randy Bowen was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna throw in a different base. It's gonna be the base from the Jean Grey statue from the '90s that he released a few years ago, which I have yet to feature, and will also be doing comparisons of, etc." Um, and so he actually combined that one with this one to make this statue, and this actually came out really nicely. And it was time for us to get an X Factor version of Jean, and frankly, you can never have enough Jean statues, so the more Jean the better. And a variant of a classic statue works for me. This is just a classic statue here, the Phoenix version, and she's in her classic Phoenix costume. So you can't really compare the two as far as like the designs of the costume, because they're completely different character designs. Their character designs that represent completely different eras and have completely different significance for the fans. So as far as the designs go, both are fantastic and both have unique features. This one here, they both have like metallic elements to the costume, but this one has the metallic elements on the gloves and the boots and the sash, whereas this one has the metallic elements on the majority of the costume in the red, and has like a matte yellow for the X and the boots and the gloves. So they actually contrast each other in that way, which is very nice, but they both maintain like the whole matte paint to metallic paint contrast dynamic, which is a great way of designing a statue, of painting a statue. It really makes the elements stand out nicely because of the contrast of the two sort of textures that are used. So both of them have that element, and they use it in different ways, and it's just fantastic. Um, Both bases are translucent, which is very cool. This base obviously is like the translucent water that's splashing up after she emerges for the first time out of the New York Harbor, which can be seen in, I'm pretty sure, Uncanny or X-Men number 101. In the cover, she's basically represented like this, slightly differently, but this captures that moment. And so the base has like this kind of like this gradient quality where it starts with dark blue in the bottom, and it becomes clear towards the top. So it's like it captures like clear water splashing very nicely, beautifully done. This one over here is meant to be like her TK telekinetic effect, manifesting itself physically, and it also has kind of like that gradient effect where it starts out dark in the bottom and gets lighter towards the top. This one's slightly different as far as the translucent element in that it has like glitter in it. So when the light hits it, you can kind of see glitter inside of the base and inside of the clear resin, which is just more eye candy, which is really nice and is just a nice sort of touch to this statue. Both bases are very nice, and again, they complement the character really well. The matte green and the phoenix symbol on this one looks fantastic. The rest of the costume looks great. And in this one as well, I really love like the big X and the X Factor costume. Looks fantastic. The Phoenix, I think the Phoenix face is different than the X Factor face. I think it might have been the whole head might have been resculpted for the X Factor statue, but I might be completely wrong about that. And I think what makes it look so different is the fact that the X Factor version is wearing a mask, and she also has pupils in her eyes, whereas the Phoenix does not, and is not wearing a mask. And somehow it makes it look different, but it might not be different. It might actually be the same face sculpt. I really like both. I really like the way both of them look. They both look very nice. The thing about the Phoenix one is I wish that she looked just slightly prettier, but actually she looks pretty. It's just I feel like because this was a variant of the Dark Phoenix statue, there wasn't enough attention put into differentiating the Dark Phoenix from the Phoenix, and so she kind of comes off as a little bit evil. But you know what? I mean, the evolution of the Phoenix is such that she does eventually become evil, and so it does kind of make sense, sort of as like a foreshadowing quality. You know, it foreshadows what is eventually going to happen to the character. So I don't really have a problem with that either. Even though, like in a lot of the comics, in the early sort of representations of Jean as the Phoenix, in the green and gold costume, she is represented kind of, you know, in a friendly sort of manner with like a pretty sort of glowing quality to her face. But whatever, it doesn't matter. This statue looks great, and it works. I really like that there was a difference. There was a decision to make the face on this one slightly different in that she has the pupils for her eyes. So it does make the statue kind of different than this statue. And then, of course, the big element that's completely different is the hair. You've got the kind of like the curly flowing hair over here, and then you've got like the fuller, bigger flowing hair on this one over here. So, and it really kind of differentiates the statues, kind of makes them look different, which is fantastic because although they're the same sculpt, overall they're a different character version of Jean. They're, you know, in different states, so you want to have them, you know, be as distinct as possible from each other. There's really not much more to compare about these two. They're completely different versions of Jean, as I said many times already. They like this one is intended to be part of the X Factor display, of which now most statues have been created and are being released, and there's only a couple more that need to be brought into the mix. This one was not intended to be part of any kind of display. And just works well as just a standalone piece. But I use her in the sort of the 70s era X-Men, circa giant-sized X-Men, with like Colossus and Banshee and like classic Storm and Nightcrawler and of course Cyclops in his retro costume. So she works really well on that display, but she could work really well by herself with like the... If you could display her with that X-Men number 101 cover with her emerging from the water, which sort of mirrors, you know, what you're seeing in the statue, that would look really cool. Yeah, so beyond that, like, I don't know. I mean, the statues are pretty much... I mean, although they're the same sculpt, they're completely different statues, and you can see it here, and it's evident, you know, like they are different statues, and they represent Jean in different states, and they could be displayed together, you know, like I could potentially put these you know, closer together, and then you can see them slightly better closer together. Obviously, this one here is going to be taller no matter what, but this one could be in the middle, and then you could have like Phoenix on the right here, and so they would be the same height here, and then this one would be slightly taller, so it would create like a nice sort of peak in between them, and that would look nice. And then of course there's also the Jean from the 90s, and there's also the Jean in that sort of Catwoman-like outfit from the same era as this costume, or right before this costume actually. And then there's also Jean in her Black Queen costume. I don't have that one. I don't have like the Catwoman-esque version of Jean. I don't have those two statues, but there's more Jeans. So if someone's interested in doing a lot of like big Jean display, there's like all sorts of varieties of Jean that could be used. Or you can just pick and choose a couple. These two would look great together, as would a nice sort of set of combinations or permutations of all the various ones that have been created. So there's all sorts of possibilities that can be done. But ultimately, I think what works best is having her with Cyclops of the era that this costume would sort of complement, like X Factor Cyclops for this one, Retro Cyclops for this one, and then beyond that, of course, team displays. But if you don't want to go that far and you just kind of want to do maybe like an individual set, a couple works really nice. You know, just like her with Cyclops works really nice. In the end, just the individual pieces work really nicely. If you haven't seen them in their individual videos, check them out. They look really nice on their own. Nothing needs to be done with these statues beyond what they already are, which is awesome on their own. There's a lot of awesome potential as far as like, you know, throwing things together in a variety of ways, and that's what these sort of, you know, extra videos are for, these that I'm going to be producing. Just throwing different things together to kind of show you how they work and maybe comparing and contrasting some. But none of that is necessary. Again, each statue has its own amazing value. All right, folks, that concludes this video comparing the X Factor Jean Grey statue by Bowen Designs to the Phoenix statue by Bowen Designs. Both great statues, both look great together, look great independently. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for checking out everything that I've been producing. Hope you enjoyed it. My blog is X-Men Statues of Future Past.blogspot.com. My YouTube channel is Dr. Remy LeBeau's X-Lair. And as always, X in the box because ain't nobody checking me. I'll catch you all very soon and take care. Bye-bye.